Greetings, and salutations, one and all. Welcome to the night shift. It's the end of this first week of the night shift in March. Look at that, 1 week down already. How you doing? It's real talk night. Happy hump day to you. Happy hump night for those on this side of the hemisphere. I want to say, and on this coast of the United States also, want to say big ups to each and everyone locked in right now. Those on TuneIn Radio, the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, and affiliates. Those on PEMGTV.com. Welcome. Those on KevinStew.com. Glad to have you. Couldn't do it without you. You have my word. I wouldn't even try. I want to say no before everybody else. A very special happy Earth date to the mother of the host of Real Rockers, Mr. Marlon Borrell. I want to say big ups to your mom. Happy Earth date to her. It's still another 1 hour and 56 minutes before her Earth date officially kicks off, but I get to say happy Earth date to her. I want to be one of the first. She shares Earth dates with one of my closest friends, and at the end of my show I get to tell her a happy Earth date. So Marlon, big ups to you. I see you there in the stew pot. Big ups to you, bro. Please pass on my Earth date greetings. Alright? Kicking it off with a lyrical track called My Heart.
Girl, you look like something I never seen before. Aye. And I have a wine for you. Oh, and I have a charm for you. Oh, you what to do? Come back on me. And let me see how much time you could give. Come now, girl. Come back on me. And let me see how much power you can give. You look like you belong on a poster, and that's why I'm holding you closer, girl. I really love your body. Can you disrupt me to my heart? And when you whine, girl, you have me balling more. Oh yeah. Girl, I see you stop me to my heart. And when you whine, girl, you have me balling more. I really love your body. And let me see how much power you can give. Come now, girl. Bubble back on me. And let me see how much power you can give. I grip you tight like I hit to a holster. I just want to hold you closer, girl. I really love your body. Can you disrupt me to my heart? And when you whine, girl, you have me balling more. Oh yeah. Girl, I see you stop me to my heart. And when you whine, girl, you have me balling more. I really love your body. And when you give me your address so I could come knock you down. Cause I have a charm for you. Oh, and I have a wine for you. Oh, you what to do? Come back on me. And let me see how much time you could give. Come now, girl. Come back on me. And let me see how much power you could give. Can you disrupt me to my heart? And when you whine, girl, you have me balling more. Oh yeah. Girl, I see you stop me to my heart. And when you whine, girl, you have me balling more. I really love your body. Come back on me. And let me see how much power you could give. Come now, girl. Come back on me. And let me see how much power you could give. I grip you tight like I hit to a holster. I just want to hold you closer, girl. I really love your body. Can you disrupt me to my heart? And when you whine, girl, you have me balling more.
Want to say thanks to Pulse Media Group for sponsoring this segment of the show.
And let me see how much time you could give.
When being in the moment is priceless, give them a call. 754-999-6020.
Grip you tight like I hit to a
Or visit them at pulsemg.com. What can they do?
I really love
Everything that you see right here on kevinstew.com.
Disrupt me to my heart. And when you whine, girl, you have me balling more.
They can host your website, they can create your website, they can provide you with streaming services. All you have to do is just give them a link
back on me.
and see what they can set you up with.
Come now, girl, bubble back on me. And let me see how much power you can give. Aye, grip you tight.
When you call them, just say, hey,
I just want to hold you close.
I heard about you guys on Kevin Stew's show,
Really love you.
The Night Shift, with DJ Kevin Stew.
My heart, and when you whine, girl, you have me balling. Oh yeah, aye. Girl, I see you stop the beat to my heart, and when you whine, girl, you have me balling. Oh,
So tonight, we're talking about
for me, and let me see how much time you could give. Come now, girl,
the ever after.
and let me see how much power you could give. Aye, grip you tight like
And you know, when it comes to that ever after,
I really love your body. Can you disrupt the beat to my
the first thing that comes to mind is that happily ever after.
Oh yeah, girl, I see you stop the beat to my heart.
How many people actually have that happily ever after, and what does that really look like?
Body.
Is that a real thing? You know, it's one of the things that you always hear about but never really question. Well, for me, it's one of the things that I've always heard about and never really looked into it, never really questioned it. It's happily ever after, because that's how they said it was supposed to go. And again, you know, we've talked about the theys before, and here they are again. Ooh, them. Who are they? In fairy tales, Prince Charming comes along and he meets the fair maiden. They fall in love and they live happily ever after. Story ends. It's interesting that the relationship only begins just as the fairy tale ends. So, what would happen if the story continued? Ever after what? Good question. Ever after what? So, if the story continued, we'd likely see that a lot of these so-called storybook romances aren't as sustainable as the characters would like to think. And many of them that suddenly started with magical sparks would quickly end up in just a puff of smoke. And perhaps Prince Charming would no longer seem so charming to his not so fair maiden, who, well, may end up falling for the prince's best friend. Then what kind of story do we have? Bum bum bum. So now the fairy tale becomes a soap opera. So here we are, trotting along and wondering, wait, how does this story really play out? Yeah, because now that becomes a question. You know, let's be clear. We're not against fairy tale romances. No. It's just that the way relationships are often portrayed in popular culture, it does a disservice to most couples. There's no magic wand, no glass slipper, or fairy dust that we can rely on to give us the fairy tale ending. And happily ever after? Well, that's not something that just happens. In real life, when it comes to these fairy tale romances, the lasting love, that takes effort. When our relationships don't measure up to the impossible ideal that we see promoted and heralded everywhere, we may feel, well, deflated. We soon realize that our prince or princess is actually just like us, mere mortals. Now, how does that look? Just mere mortals, just another person. Nothing spectacular, no one spectacular. Well, they're as spectacular as you make them. So imagine just that. They're normal. Why is it that we often rely on unrealistic expectations and wishful thinking when it comes to matters of the heart? In every other domain of our lives, we are taught that it's work and effort. These are the things that lead to sustainable results. Putting in the work, getting the effort as a result of putting in the work. In our professional lives, we don't expect that landing our first job will immediately lead to a flourishing a flourishing career. And similarly, when it comes to our health, we don't presume that simply purchasing a gym membership and exercising one time will result in a toned and fit body overnight. Not even with enhancing drugs. With both of these endeavors, there are countless hours that are put in. Days, months, years. Practicing, building new skills, and putting in the necessary work. Whether that be taking training classes or training at the gym, whatever it is, the work has to be put in. We regularly challenge ourselves by setting new work and fitness goals. And this is to enhance our performance. And many of us pair up with mentors in our professional lives who help navigate the corporate culture. And we hire personal trainers to take our fitness levels to the next level and guide us along the way. When we hit a plateau or feel bored, which happens, rather than give up or switch jobs or gyms, we figure out new ways to spice up our work and our workouts to keep us engaged. But here's the thing. When it comes to our relationships, it doesn't quite go that way. Relying on those unrealistic expectations is easy. Well, I guess it is. But what is it that makes it so easy? Is it because that is what fairy tales are made of, and then you find songs and movies and other stories about these fairy tales? These just oh so perfect situations, these relationships that really only happen in storybooks. Why is it that when it comes to our relationships, the possibly single most important factor to our well-being, why is it that we somehow leave out the ever after effort and we just leave it to chance? Is that we think that once we're married or committed to our wonderful partner or even our two-wonderful partner, that, some are more wonderful than others, so they end up being two-wonderful. But is it that when we find these partners, we will be able to coast along on the initial burst of warm feelings and ride together into the sunset? And the warm and fuzzies will just carry us all the way. We're never really told the details of what leads to the happily ever after. And the storybooks really leave us wanting more. So I guess that's what makes us go back for more. And since there is no manual that comes with commitment, wouldn't it be grand if there was a manual? But since there's no manual that comes with it, many of us are left struggling in the dark, wondering what went wrong when when the relationship of our dreams just doesn't happen. When the one that we thought was the one starts breaking down and drifting away. Just floating by like an iceberg in the Antarctic. Yeah, I can draw on that analogy because we spoke with Judith Falloon Reed earlier this week about the inspiring Antarctic experience. But yeah, why is it that is just left there? We often think that we don't have to work to achieve what is important. But somehow that only happens with our relationships. It doesn't happen with jobs. It doesn't happen with investments. It doesn't happen with playing sports. It doesn't happen with anything else but our relationships. The relationships are the ones that are left for us to say, you know what, this is supposed to be like. Well, how do you get it to be like? And that space is blank for you to fill it in whichever way you see fit, because there's no one size fits all. However, when you go to the fairy tale, it is a one size fits all, and people run away with that and say, hey, here's my one size. Let it fit me too. And they come into this idea that there is a happily ever after. So, okay, let's take for a moment the possibility that there is a happily ever after. The next question, the $1 million question, the winning question, the bingo, comes with, how do I get it? In the stew pot, it is, someone is saying, you know, for some of us, it's easier to rely on what we've been told instead of doing the research or putting in the work to achieve a successful relationship. And that's the other thing. You have to ask the question, what is a successful relationship? What does that look like to each individual? Is it that riding off into the sunset with your prince or princess charming? Is that what success is? Or is success realizing that the person that you wake up beside in the morning, well, they had beans last night and they were farting half the night, and they actually do have morning breath, and their hair is a mess in the morning, and they do need to shave, and they wait, they're people. Oh my gosh. Which means they're flawed. So what does that success look like? Or is it only shown when you go out in public and look like that winning couple? What is that success? So while there's no definitive list of do's or don'ts or 12 simple steps to achieve a perfect relationship, there are some promising findings based on the science of positive psychology to build a healthy connection. Oh. So there's a sort of a guideline? Now, here is what that guideline, what that those findings based on science of positive psychology. Well, here's what they kind of look like. Distinguishing between a healthy and harmful passion. There's the understanding and prioritizing positive emotions. There's a savoring shared experiences with one another. There's identifying, building, and appreciating our strengths and those of our partner. And those are some of the things that would probably make that fairy tale romance come to life. So those of you who want to share, you can call 773-789-STEW. You can, that's 773-789-7839. You can text also to that number. And you're encouraged to jump into the stew pot. It's where we keep things bubbling. Others call it a chat room. On their sites, we're fancy. We call it a stew pot. And when you jump on in, you become a stew potter. Not just an ingredient. You're a little bit more than that. But yes, you are an ingredient to an amazing stew. A stew of conversation. A stew of, dialogue and truversation. Yeah. And so, one of the potters saying, to each his or her own. We all need to determine what success looks like to us. And that is one of the things. Because we would take what success looks like to whomever is most influential at the time. And we take that, and after the races we go. Because they said, hey, the flavor of the day is this. And they have a lot of followers. So what they're saying has to hold some ground, there has to be some legitimacy to it. Okay. So that's the flavor of the day. That's the thing that they're going to go with today. What about tomorrow? What when that thing doesn't work? Because, the dynamics of my relationship is just a little bit different from the dynamics of theirs. What then? We wait on tomorrow's flavor and see if it changes from today's? Well, if that is what we're going to do, then we need to recognize that, hey, there isn't a one size fits all, and we're looking for that thing that works for us. So instead of waiting for somebody to tell it to us, why don't we just explore it among ourselves? How about we talk to each other? And I want you to understand something, As I'm talking about this happily ever after, you have to ask after what? Which is why I stop at ever after. And I didn't hit happily. Because the ever after encompasses the highs and the lows, the ebbs and the flows. And we need to, we cannot realistically have a relationship with those things happening. They're the goods, the bads, the indifference that all happen in our relationships. So to think that it comes with meeting that one person or getting that one job or getting that one car or having that one experience that now it takes you through the rest of your life and you are content. Unless you're winning the lotto and the payout is ridiculous. And even then, you still need to do some work. Because you have to do something with it. You either have to go pick it up or you have to go out and spend it. There's some part you have to play. So, as we roll into this, our first break, we need to recognize that there's a myth of happily ever after. And what brings it home is doing things like being intentional with our actions. And when we come back from the break, we'll talk a little bit about that. But there's even one more thing, that another twist to the plot that I intend for us to look at tonight. And that twist has to do with genes. So here's a thought. What if it's actually written in us how our fairy tale plays out? Pum pum pum. Now that comes back to the whole idea that there's no one size fits all, because no two of us are exactly alike. Even if we were identical twins, we'd still not be identical. We'd not be exactly alike. Identical, not exact. So, something to think about as we take this quick little break. Call your friends, tell your friends, come on in, jump into the stew pot, send me a message here and there. If you're overseas and you can't do the stew pot for whatever reason, and you can't do the phone call or the text, you can Skype. Kevin.stew. Skype me. Send me a message. I'll get it. You have my Skype is on. You'll get it. I'll get the message. Call me on Skype if you want. We can talk. It works. All right? We'll be right back after these messages. Oh, actually I need to start the message, right? Yeah, I think so too. We'll be back.
Pulsey Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulsey Media Group.
The award-winning Palace Peace and Love Academic Scholarship is appealing for your support to help educate one student at a time in Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Palace awarded 492 scholarships and several computers to university and high school students in Jamaica and the Caribbean over the past 7 years. Valued at approximately 33 million Jamaican dollars, $250,000 US.
Importantly, our university graduates to date include 15 medical doctors, 10 lawyers, 6 engineers, and 15 fine arts students. Our goal is to award at least 105 scholarships in 2018.
Please partner with us to make this a reality for those well-deserving, hard-working students by making a tax-deductible donation online at www.palace1.org
or send a check to Palace, P.O. Box 5461, Alpharetta, Georgia 30023 USA, or telephone 770-744-2154.
Palace, preserving young minds for posterity.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school,
In math,
I learned that I'm ugly
I
and
learned
useless.
that I'm trash.
And in gym,
In biology,
I learned that I'm pathetic
I learned that I'm fat
and a
and
joke.
stupid.
In history,
Today in
I learned that
school,
I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes
In
me.
biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid.
In English,
And in
I
math,
learned that I make people
I
sick.
learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today
The only thing I didn't learn today.
The only thing I didn't learn,
It's why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
Hey yo, this is Caraman to let you know that right about now you are logged on to DJ Kevin Stew on The Night Shift. Don't move.
Send roses by bottles of champagne. Your favorite, I'm great at keeping a promise. Wrote letters, 10 pages to tell ya I'm in it, I wanna stay. And I'll show you in every way. You're skeptical still, well, I'm loving on you. And I'm super confused how my actions don't convince you. You're skeptical still, so I'll remind you. Takeout, stop binging on old films. Get dressed up, we go out. It's hard to make a choice. We're both indecisive. All I know, I'm in it, I wanna stay. And I'll told you. I never told you I love you, I do.
It would help if I
Never told.
unmuted the mic, right?
It's easy to say, the harder to show you what I mean. So you just gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. I know you
I want to welcome you back to the show. Tonight, shift to DJ Kevin Stew for those of you just tuning in. Real Talk Wednesday, aka Marlon's favorite night shift show. I want to say thanks to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands for sponsoring this segment of the show. Althea is a licensed massage therapist that comes to you wherever you are. Granted that you're in Broad County, North Miami-Dade, South Palm Beach County.
the harder to show you what I mean. So you just gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. I know you believe me. When I say
So just give Althea a call, 954-655-9000, or email her at thealita@att.net, and she comes to you and will set up your appointment. She brings her table. Only requirement, you get off her table when she's done. Well, that's outside of paying her, of course. The sound of Royce, If I Loved You. I can't wait to talk to Royce. You know, she has this sound and her lyrics, and it'll just be one really interesting conversation or discussion, conversation, sharing, whatever you want to call it. It will be one fun time. I can just feel it. Anyway, so back to the matter at hand, or happily ever afters. You know, how much thought you put into it? You think it just happens? Are you starting to feel worried about the fact that you're growing apart from your spouse or your long-term partner? Are you concerned that the passion that you once shared is dissipating and that you're becoming bored and dissatisfied with your life together? You starting to feel that? You see yourself heading that way? Are you beginning to think that you might love your partner, but you're just not feeling in love with them anymore? Well, what if it was that you were told that all of this is not necessarily the end of the happiness together, but it's quite normal? What about that? And this is not just to say that, you know, these are not concerns. Yes. But outside of the fact that you should pay attention to these signs, it's pretty normal. And it's not suggesting that couples should not strive to improve these aspects in their long-term relationships, because any relationship should absolutely include times of passion and excitement. Yes, we want that. But it is suggesting that we often have unrealistic expectations about what romance and passion should look like, and that we should not give up on our relationships when we start to feel these things fading. Our long-term relationships are inevitably going to have ups. They're going to have downs. And it's quite common to feel this way at some point in a long-term relationship. So, couples break up or divorce when they go through these difficult seasons, when there is still so much that they could build on. And sadly, after time has passed, some of these couples end up regretting the decision to walk away so easily. And many couples have found that when they choose to actually walk away, well, they not only work through the difficult feelings, but can end up happier than ever if they don't. So the ones that stick in there and they work through the hard times, they work through the storms, they climb over that boulder. When they look back, they see that it's a stepping stone, not so much of a boulder in their way anymore. It was a stepping stone to the next phase of their relationship, whatever that phase may look like. Our culture has done a disservice to us. We are inundated with steamy romance novels and movies which we watch. Soulmates who are destined to be together share a love story that moves us to tears. And you have these songs on the radio that have us wanting that once in a lifetime love, and commercials that make us every relationship you see in a commercial, it makes it look perfect. Even social media has allowed real life couples to portray themselves as living the dream life together. And it can sometimes seem as if every other couple in the world is living a more exciting, passionate life together than we are. Well, then reality hits. And here's what reality is. Much of what we are exposed to is a fantasy. It's not real. We're only seeing a glimpse of the whole story. Characters who are not real people and airbrushed highlight reels of exciting moments. And they're being made to believe that this is what we should expect in real life. And this is what should happen all the time. No, that's not how it goes. We are, as a society at large, buying into this fairy tale. We are believing that since everyone seems to have a larger than life story, that we should too. It is very easy for us to start to think that the grass is greener somewhere else, and that we are we're settling if our marriage doesn't look like what we see on the big screen, or even what our Facebook friends appear to be living. That social media life. What we actually need to know is that any long-term relationship is going to have cycles of highs and lows. And sometimes the lows are subterranean. They go really low. And this is expected. And guess what? It is normal. No one really prepares us for that, though. Even as children, we are shown fairy tales where the couple finally ends up together and go on to live happily ever after. But happily ever after is actually possible. It comes with a lot of effort. As we get older, we hopefully were told that marriage and or long-term relationships can be hard. But we never really understand how hard they can be, or that those difficulties will actually happen to us. We can't begin to imagine how busy life can be with work and with children and all the demands of life, and just what that can do to our romantic life. We cannot understand how tough it can be when the little annoyances sometimes turn into big resentments. We all start out believing that we are invincible, and that our love is one for the ages. But even in the strongest of couples, that spark, that little thing, if you don't put in the work and do the little things to keep you connected, that spark will go away. And we just can't understand that we might one day be that couple. Looking at each other, asking, what was it that attracted me to you in the first place? And in some cases, the other way around, what attracted you to me? Emotions are fickle. Feelings are fleeting. But increasingly, our culture tells us to follow our emotions if we want true happiness. We're being told to follow our heart. And if we're not feeling in love anymore, well, we need to go where the in-loveness is. No such word, but hey. We're being told that our relationships, just like our shoes, our clothes, they're disposable. And that if we're not happy, we should just switch out our partners, get a new one, start over. Now, this is not suggesting that we should not listen to our hearts and our feelings. Not saying that at all. We also need to listen to our minds. We need to be aware that our feelings and emotions can become very clouded and change. They could be one way this week and another way next week. You could be having the relationship of the ages this year. But then you look back at last year and you're like, whoa, I never would have made it. You know what I mean? You break out into song and you tell a story and pass the collection plate kind of a thing. Because of what you've been through. And now you're just living the best life. This is proposing a concept that goes against much of what pop culture teaches. We actually need to sometimes choose to love our partner. Even in those times when we don't feel like doing it. And much of the time, if a relationship has a strong and healthy foundation with emotionally healthy people, and that's not an easy place to get to, being emotionally healthy. But if you do have emotionally healthy people involved in the relationship, then you can push through these times. Because the romantic feelings, the passionate encounters, they can, and they often do, come back. There are certainly extenuating circumstances. When times like when you have abuse, and the addictions and other things that can really ruin a relationship. When you have these things happening, you have your exceptions to the rule. Well, and in essence, that's not healthy. But when you have that vulnerability, when you have that openness with your partner, and you sit and you talk about the difficult topics, and you form that bond, then you can work through it And even if you actually decide that that relationship between the two of you isn't going to work, having that bond, having that ability to have that discussion, that even that breakup is not the horrible clash of the titans kind of thing. And you just may end up being encouraged by your now ex-partner in whatever new relationship you've gone into, because the foundation, because of that relationship, that genuine relationship that the two of you share. So how do you go about loving with intention? You know, what are some of the things that you need to do? Well, try to invite your partner into closeness once a day, even if it's just 20 minutes. And in this time, you want to share about your day and your feelings, about things going on with you, not just discussing logistical concerns like the children and the rent and the upgrades and the servicing of the vehicle and what. No. Just sharing about you. Turn off the TV, turn off the phone. Give each other your full attention. Take the time. If you're tired and there's just a small window of time, use that time and have that moment. Then choose to do something. Be intentional. Choose to do something loving for your partner. Even when you don't feel like it, do it. Rub their back. Cook their favorite meal. Hold their hand when they're upset. Get a little treat for them. Something that you know that they love. Yeah, you've experienced both sides of the coin. Thank you for sharing that, Potter. Falling in love doesn't require the intention or maturity. It just happens, and it is easy. And once that new love, the nostalgia of it has worn off, taking the time to do something nice for your partner, even when you don't feel like it, is the kind of thing that gets you through the hard times. Now, even when time and money are tight, get that date night in there. You know, whenever you can, just squeeze it in there. If you can't schedule it for a regular time, just get it in there. And it doesn't have to be a night out. It could be just sitting and talking. Share something that you never actually shared. Listen, it really doesn't matter how long you've been with your partner. I can almost guarantee you that there's something you didn't share. And the moment you sit down and actually share that and have a discussion about it, it creates yet another connection in your relationship. And if you don't believe me, try it. Just give it a try. Start thinking about some aspirations that you have and encourage your partner to do the same thing. And then share those aspirations with each other. And try to figure out how to attain those goals and how to help each other to get them. And even if you're not feeling all that connected to each other, do it nonetheless. Because now you're doing something else together. And hopefully it ends up that you're doing this thing without even thinking about it. And it becomes something natural. You know, in the ideal world, we could work and address our relationship concerns before we get to the point where we feel hopeless about the future together. The hope is that we work hard at maintaining our romantic connections. And this is before it all gets shot to pieces. Many times we don't pay attention to our problems in our relationships until things get really bad. And if you realize that your relationship is getting out of control, and you are not sure how to even begin to get it back on track, understand that you're not the first. And people before you have been in this situation and have gotten back on track. And by no means is it easy to do. It's hard to embrace when you're going through tough times as a couple. To embrace the idea that, hey, this is something that we can work through. But you can also get professional help. You don't have to do it on your own. So as tempting as it is to give up and to just go out there and get a replacement, talk. Get some help. Try something different. Because if what you've been doing all along has now led you to the place where you don't want to do anymore, do what you've never done. What do you have to lose? If you're already at your wit's end and thinking, this is where I call it quits, what do you have to lose? Go ahead. Do that thing that you've never done. That thing that is possibly outside of the box. And be intentional about it. And then sit and talk about doing it. And the possible, if you're one to have expectations, your possible expectations, share that. And then go back and say what the experience was actually like. Did it meet those expectations? Did it exceed those expectations? What was it really like? Only one thing will happen, in my opinion, when you actually do something like this. You form new bonds. Same old person, but it's a brand new experience. It's a brand new connection. What do you have to lose by doing it? We're going to take one more break. And when we come back, I want to blow your mind a little bit. Because there just may be a scientific explanation to this whole thing. Yeah, you don't really think of an actual scientific explanation when it comes to this happily ever after. But there's quite possibly a scientific explanation. And I'll tell you what it is when we come back from the break. So, get your notebooks out, because you may need to take some notes. You may need to write some information down. And then we'll come back. And we'll talk about it. We'll share about it, yeah? Where is I am losing my mind. Okay. Alright, I'll just do this. We'll be right back. Did I miss a message? Okay, no I didn't. Yeah, we'll be right back.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse eMedia Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse eMedia Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse eMedia Group, when being in the moment is priceless. Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.
It's Christina representing for DJ Kevin. You see me, I say, I don't know the boss. You see me, I say, DJ Kevin Stew on the Night Shift radio show. Yo, it at the thing, turn up the thing loud. Wow, DJ Kevin Stew have the heart of a champion. Never underestimate, just choose him. The silver line behind the dark clouds. DJ Kevin Stew believe him, and that's no doubt. Salute the Night Shift radio show, Christina. It's a hot it up loud.
Why not production?
Yeah. Black love is bigger than you, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than him, it's bigger than she. Black love is all about unity. It's us. Black love, it's we. Hey. So make we talk for a second about this. Cause every goddess when me know want this. Fi in love, peaceful and bliss. A black love full of chocolate kiss. Black moments make we reminisce. Light your spliff if you drink, take a sip. Tonight sex enough we target. Cause I've got something better. I swear to God I do. I've got a man that loves me and reads to me too. Him take me on a level, nothing left to do but confess that I love him, and that's the truth. He reads to me, he teaches me, that pleases me. Black love so sweet. He lays with me and plays with me, all day with me. Black love in me. Whoa, are we connected through time and space? The love strong, stronger than the black race. A pure magic anytime we embrace. Me love your king, I will never embrace. The man go deep, deep in the bookcase. Show me body plus me mental space. Spiritually I have to elevate. Cause I've got something better. I swear to God I do. I've got a man that loves me and reads to me too. Him take me on a level, nothing left to do but confess that I love him, and that's the truth. He reads to me, he teaches me, that pleases me. Black love so sweet, he lays with me.
The track is called Black Love.
All day with me.
by Caramanti.
I miss enough for them a try. Announce love but a lie, them a lie. Them couple up but me want know why. Cause every other month I just fight, them a fight. Before long one of them take flight.
I want to say thanks to Reggae Global Entertainment for sponsoring this segment of the show.
He reads to me,
Reggae Global
teaches me that
provides booking agency services,
black love so sweet.
tour management services, legal contracts, copyrights, publishing, trademarks.
All day with me, black love indeed.
They do event planning.
I miss enough for them.
They take care of music productions.
Them couple up but me want know why. Cause every other month I
Their services are multifaceted.
before long one of them take flight. Quit the team cause the team never tight. Me heart goes out, that's not right. But not enough in me black life. Hey.
You can just give them a call at 954
That's the truth.
998 8034.
That please.
Let them know you heard about them on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, yeah?
So sweet. He lays with me and plays with
In
me.
the background, the Caramanti,
Play with me.
the track called Black Love.
Love indeed. Oh, I miss enough for them a try. Announce love but a lie, them a lie. Them couple up but me want know why. Cause every other month I just fight, them a fight. Before long one of them take flight. Quit the team cause the team never tight. Me heart goes out, that's not right. But not enough in me black life. Hey. Yeah, a Caramanti. Black love, family.
So, it turns out that the ingredient that determines whether your marriage is bliss on earth or a living hell may actually be in your genes. Yeah, not the genes you wear. No, not those genes. Although, hey, I've seen some people in some genes that, let me tell you, whew, Lord. But no, not those genes. Here's where it even gets more interesting. The same gene may be responsible for both of those situations, the blissful living or the hellish experience. Everyone has a gene that helps regulate the neurotransmitter serotonin. And on this gene, there's a region known as 5-HTTLPR, which, if you try to actually pronounce that, you might sound like a Nazi cat. Anyway, so this region comes in two main alleles, one short, one long. When you end up with the short version, you end up with just a slightly longer exposure to serotonin, which, among many other functions, help to regulate emotion. Now, in studies, this short version has been linked to stronger reactions to emotional stimuli. In other words, carriers of this genetic code feel their feelings a bit more. So, now, there's no real word on whether the short allele carriers are any more likely to write poetry, make mixtapes, or for other people are called into talk radio shows. They don't know. So, if you're thinking about that, they didn't have that in their findings. But how does this play out in marriage? One might ask. And that's a good question. A study conducted at Cal and published online in the journal Emotion suggests that people with 2 copies of the short allele are much more sensitive to the emotional currents in their marriage, and over the years are more likely to experience their marriages not as average, but as either bliss or misery. And this study is part of a larger longitudinal study conducted by UC Berkeley psychologist Robert W. Levinson, who has been tracking 150 married couples for a quarter of a century. Now, I guess one could say that this man has nothing better to do than to study married couples, but I guess he is not married himself. Or maybe he is. In most other studies of this kind, participants would just be asked how they felt about their marriage and or what kind of gestures their partners made. But in Levinson's study, the couples are filmed while they interact to solve a relationship problem. And those tapes are then reviewed and the subjects are graded by their facial expressions, their body language, the words they use, and the tone of their voices. Now, I guess if I were to be the subject of some of these studies, that I would be in trouble, because I have had some facial expressions that, let me tell you, ooh, child. And I've had some tones. If you ever get the experience to ask about what I've been like in some of those situations, do it. Ask. It'll be really interesting to find out. But and I'm aware of it. I recognize it. So all I can say is, oof, boy. So for the individuals with one or two copies of the long allele, these interactions were not predictive of how they'd come to view their marriage in the future. Now, presumably, they graded their marriages on their kids or their mortgages, or why the other person cannot correctly load the dishwasher, or why the other person cares so much about the dishwasher. But for individuals who, with the two copies of the short allele, the emotional tone of their interactions predicted either marital satisfaction or dissatisfaction. How large was the swing in their satisfaction? Well, Levinson said that short allele individuals who came into the study with pretty much average marriages, but a negative emotional tone, ended up 13 years later in the bottom 4% of marital satisfaction. Basically, that's the Mississippi of marriages. I saw that and I was like, that is just rough. Not that I've been to Mississippi. I'd love to go visit Mississippi. But that's, I guess, as it relates to marriages, that's not what you want. So if I said to you, if your marriage started out as average and then 10 years later, you were only 4% of the marriages in the population that were worse than your marriage, then you should be pretty worried, right? You would be. But if you're not, I guess you should be. But that doesn't mean these short allele people are doomed to unhappy marriages. Because in the right environment, they bloom and end up the happiest with their marriages. And this is what the study's lead author, Claudia Haas, who began the study as a postdoc at Cal and is now assistant professor of human development and social policy at Northwestern University. She says, for the extra sensitive, compliments, good natured jokes, physical contact, these little emotional goodies you can provide your spouse really matter. It's also worth noting a bit of backstory on how this marriage longitudinal study ended up diving in the direction of the gene pool. The study had been going on since 1989. And, well, that was before the human genome had even been mapped and when Haas was still living in what was, at the time, East Germany. But then there was a giant recession and economic stimulus act, and one of the provisions of which was funding for new research grants to expand existing research in a new direction and do it quickly. And as Levinson says, if it had not been for the crash of the American economy, well, this study may not have happened. And what an interesting study it is. So, it is that genes will pretty much determine, if it's amazing, if it's doomed, or if it's just so-so. And that is something to consider. But, it's not like we go out and we get gene tested. I'm gonna stop by the pharmacy and pick up a gene test. I want to see if I have these alleles. You remember what they're called? I'm pretty sure all you remember is Nazi cat. It's the 5-HTT-LPR. 5-HTT-LPR. Go look it up. See what you can find on it. And then you can tell me what you found on it. And we can have a little bit of a discussion. But the thought that genes could play a role in how well your relationship does, then that could possibly answer the question as to why you have this quote-unquote generational curse when it comes to individuals not being able to maintain marriages, or those that can maintain marriages or long-term relationships. It's in the genes. So you probably need to go out and buy new genes. No. These ones you can't buy. But yeah, it is interesting though, isn't it? Because it changes everything. So the whole happily ever after thing, if in the right conditions, with having these two alleles, these short genes, these short alleles, if in the right conditions are there in all your relationships, then they'll all be blissful. So now you'll be probably blistered because you're so happy. That's a thought. Yeah, I just my mind just went off just now. I don't know. Some of you probably went with me, but yeah, it's something to think about, isn't it? the whole idea that genes could actually play a major role in your happiness. Can you change how your genes express themselves? Well, it has happened. And you prefer Carter, right? Over time, being exposed to certain stimuli, it alters how your genes express themselves. And we learned that recently. So, things that make you go, there could be a whole lot more to this than we know or that we accept. But maybe it's not so bad. And looking into this whole relationship thing could take us on a whole new adventure. And what an adventure it would be. Are you ready? I am ready. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. I'm ready right now. You know, this wasn't the track that I wanted to play, and I do apologize. Big ups to Incognito. That's not the track I want to play. This is the track I want to play. Yeah, this is the one I'm feeling right now. New music from Unique. Cherish the day.
If you were mine
from Christine Alicia.
This is what we've come to share. Make
This one she's working out to Tasha T.
we will stand in unity. Let
It's a Love Liberation remix.
no more will we be used to play the fool and push the toil. We know the strength of harmony. We rise above it all. Love liberation. Love, the cure for every nation. Love liberation. The cure for every nation. Love. Division is the enemy. Destruction is the sword. You fooled us maybe once before, but you cannot fool no more. This is the song for Ja'ami. This is the song for us. Love is our everlasting key. I and I rise on love liberation. Love. The cure for every nation. Love liberation. The cure for every nation. Tasha T. Hey, we need a cure for the mind and soul, a cure for the mind and heart, a cure for the nation. Build a foundation, give them a head start. Catch a love, we never part. Him sure me from the start. Him teach me how to love, we conquer all evil thoughts. Liberation, encouragement and inspiration, increasing knowledge and motivation. Protect the new generation, give them love and affection. Liberation, love, the cure for every nation. The dirty tough and the beer check maga, but me push it for your liquor harder. The data stand firm, ever all in the order. Straight from Spain town, Jamaica.
This is the real Storm.
Always try to do better. Be a go-getter. Keep job beside
Called Live for Your Love.
me weather. Take every measure. I am the treasure. You gotta feel it's true. I live for your love. I live for your love. Daily battles I rise above. Jah, I live for your love. Your love. I live for your love. I live for your love. Ethiopia, I'm thinking of. Jah, I live for your love. Plant a seed and the garden will grow. Militant is my tempo. Dereliction won't bring in the dough. Miss a song, can I sing so? Non-stop, but mediocrity is straight to the top. Heart of it stronger when it thunderclap. Trod into Zion and me nah rally back. Never missing the fact that I live for your love. I live for your love. Daily battles I rise above. Jah, I live for your love. I live for your love. I live for your love. Ethiopia, I'm thinking of. Jah, I live for your love. Oh, hey, Emmanuel, I'm a daddy, so I don't fear the monarchy. All when them rise to tsunami, the rod of Moses apart. Emmanuel, I'm a daddy, so I don't fear the monarchy. All when them rise to tsunami, the rod of Moses apart. Lord, me say me nah stop trying, 'cause you must hear my cry. All when them cut me supply, my soul will never die. Marcus said before, I live for your love. I live for your love. I
Ethiopia, I'm thinking of. Jah, I live for your love. I live for your love. I live for your love. Ethiopia, I'm thinking of. Jah, I live for your love. Jah, I live for your love.
Touch my G-spots. Boy, you got my hook like a junkie pan crack. Me grip you with the muscle like a mouse in a shop. Open like rose.
This is the sound of IKEA.
Like a sick grind your fluids. Candlelights and movies. Dash me on the turntable and tune me like a remix. Spin me on the left and then you mix me on the right. Baby, you know I'll be a big tune tonight. Good, that's the way you make me feel. My soprano with your bass, sweet melodies. Play my notes in G, tune it up for me. I love the way you make me feel. Got me bubbling to the beat. I love the way you make me feel.
The track is called G-Spots.
I like it so much. I get that. I'm really feeling your touch. Boy, you water in my tummy. Come on, baby, come on. I like your instrumental brass. It no fit do the test, no violin, it won't a string, but why you fix it as a class? No Remy, pass all I need, no sweet people don't want on me. Play me 3 more actives down to C. Like a baritone, turn it out like a rhythm in my headphones. Take it down like a band on a stage show. Baby, come on, come on, come on. I like it so much, I'm really feeling your touch. Touch my G-spots. Boy, you got my hook like a junkie pan crack. Me grip you with the muscle like a mouse in a shop. Open like rose, soul singing multiple tracks like a sick grind your fluids. Candlelights and movies. Dash me on the turntable and tune me like a remix. Spin me on the left and then you mix me on the right. Baby, you know I'll be a big tune tonight. Good, that's the way you make me feel. My soprano with your bass, sweet melodies. Play my notes in G, tune it up for me. I love the way you make me feel. Got me bubbling to the beat. I love the way you make me feel. Heaven sent from up above, so I dedicate to you
eternal love.
This is Benjamin's working out with Lisa.
So I dedicate to you eternal love.
That's the title of the track right there, Eternal Love.
Thought about you a lot today. It's been that way since you came in my life.
If you haven't realized it yet, we're into our musical therapy. I want to thank GMAT Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment.
It's much more than selfish love or even foolish pride. Heaven knows I'm looking for some meaning in my life. I've opened up my eyes, but I still couldn't find. But you could rest assured I know what's in my heart. And with this new love that we share together, forever we will never be apart. No.
So I dedicate to you
eternal love. Show everything that I need.
So I dedicate to you
eternal love. Ooh, baby, sing to me, baby.
With your loving hands to holding, guide me, it's a feeling that can warm the coldest day. Such a joy to know you're here beside me. It's a passion that gets stronger every day.
Ooh, baby, 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 I enjoy the time we spend and the love we share.
And it's the little things that you do makes me know that you care.
And from this moment on, I stay right by your side. The essence of true love shines from you. You're the reason for the joy within my life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eternal love. You're everything that I need. Eternal love. Yeah, 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 yeah.
For those in South Florida, listen out for Benjamine's visiting once again. Keep your ears tuned for that, yeah? This is from his album Rootsy Rhapsody.
I'm not saying she's perfect. I'm not saying she's a saint.
And for all the Hezites, this is Hezron, a track called Treat Her Better.
I'm not saying she's blameless. John knows we all made mistakes. All I'm saying is treat her a little better. If having her by your side is something that you enjoy, and if you see her as a real woman, not someone you take as a toy, well, I'm not saying she may not be testing and sometimes get on your nerves, yes. All I'm saying, brother, treat her a little better. I'm not saying she's spotless or a little bit impatient, yes. All I'm saying is treat her a little better. And I know she may test your pride, but you gotta find the man inside, yeah, and just treat her a little better. Now what you are gonna do now? She pack up and gone in the middle of the night when the HR call. You are beat down the door, I tired body miss bomb. With her 5 bikini, one never left her arm. But as the saying goes, cow never know the use of his tail till it's gone. Treat her a little better. I'm not saying she's a saint, oh, but I know she's an angel. Oh, and I'm saying, brother, treat her a little better. And I know you are the king, but every king deserves a queen. Treat her as such, treat her a little better. Oh. La 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 la.
you see her as a real woman, not someone you take as a toy. Well, I'm not saying she may not be testing, but sometimes get on your nerves, yes. All I'm saying, brother, treat her a little better. I'm not saying she's perfect, I'm not saying she's a saint, no. All I'm saying, brother, treat her a little better. I'm not saying she's blameless, Jah knows we all make mistakes, so treat her a little better.
I seen the girl around the corner, all it did was make me think of you and I'm missing you.
This is Grams Morgan.
Feel like I can
The track is called One in a Million.
trying, but you won't take my calls tonight. I'm missing you. Girl, I know I messed up, but I fessed up. Thought a little time would bring you back. Now I'm a wreck, cause it clearly wasn't so. So tell me what to do or what to say to make it right. Cause I need your arms around me every night. To me you're worth a trillion. You're one in a million. I'll never find a woman like you. If you would give back your heart, I swear by all love, I'd spend a lifetime making it up to you. Every night coming home to you. Oh, 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 yeah. Friends been saying time again, gotta try to get yourself together right.
You know it's easy to dance out celebrity big up DJ Kevin, you know, the maddest DJ in town, you know. Kick it like a ball, ED says so, gossip.
But refuse to give up hope and say that I'm missing you. Just want you to know that 10 years from now, I'll still be knocking at your door now. Your love is irreplaceable. Irreplaceable. So tell me what to do or what to say to make it right. Cause I need your arms around me every night. To me you're worth a trillion. You're one in a million. I'll never find a woman like you. If you would give back your heart, I swear by all love, I'd spend a lifetime making it up to you. Every night coming home to you. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, oh, your heart, I swear by all love, I'd spend a lifetime making it up to you. Every night coming home to you. Oh, 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 oh.
The sound of Grams Morgan. One in a million. This is how I bounce on out of here for this week. What a week it has been. More on the lighter side, yeah? I've been touching on some heavy topics lately. And guess what? Come one day, we right back there. But hey, we get to take a break from the heavy topics every now and then and do something lighthearted. Or relatively lighthearted. I want to thank you, each and everyone, for tuning in. Wherever you are in the world, I thank you. I do encourage you to look out for your neighbor. Your neighbor is not just the person that lives in the development that you live in, but your community spreads far and wide. So your neighbor happens to be all those that you pass on the bus, on the plane, on the boat, on the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive. These people are your neighbors. These are the ones you want to look out for. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. Just food for thought, yeah?
Sent from heaven.
This is Dottie, one of the members of Sensational Dynamic Sound, SDS.
Sent from heaven.
You know that group that gave you A Woman in Love? Yeah, she's one of those.
Sent from heaven. Now you can wait your whole life wondering when it's gonna come or where it's been.
When I say those, I mean one of those ladies.
Broken a few times in the past, never lasts as strong as it used to. Don't feel as good as it used to before, and all the things you used to say, things you used to do, went right out the door. Oh, no more you be the one. That's what you tell everyone around you, but you know they heard it all before. What more can you say? When love won't let you walk away and you can't help who you love, and you find yourself giving it all away when you think you're in love. Ooh, 'cause I wanna be the one who you believe in your heart is sent from heaven. There's a piece of me who leaves when you're gone because it's sent from heaven. I wanna be the one who you believe in your heart is sent from heaven. There's a piece of me who leaves when you're gone because it's sent from heaven. You can wait your whole life trying to change what you feel from what it's been. You may have put your whole life into a man loving what you thought that could have been. Notice when you change and you don't feel as good as you used to before, and everything you used to say, thing you used to do, clear right out the door. Oh, no more you be the one. That's what you tell everyone around you, but you know they heard it all before. What more can you say? When love won't let you walk away and you can't help who you love, and you find yourself giving it all away when you think you're in love. So I wanna be the one who you believe in your heart is sent from heaven. There's a piece of me who leaves when you're gone because it's sent from heaven. I wanna be the one who you believe in your heart is sent from heaven. There's a piece of me who leaves when you're gone because it's sent from everybody say I wanna be the one you love. I wanna be sent. Everybody say I wanna be the one you trust. I wanna be sent from heaven. I wanna be the one you need. I wanna be sent. Everybody say I wanna be the one. Oh, sent from heaven. I wanna be the one who you believe in your heart is sent from heaven. There's a piece of me who leaves when you're gone because it's sent from
Sunshine, moonlight, delight, just a couple ones.
This is Peter G working out with Joanna Marie.
So lovely, want everyone.
Their rendition of Close to You.
This is Joanna Marie, and it's all about DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift. You feel for some stew? Check out Kevin Stew.
Hey baby, I just want to get close to you.
Yeah, I know how you feel, Peter.
Sunshine, moonlight, delight, just a couple ones describing who you are. Lovely, so lovely.
out, Joanna. I want to say thanks to GMAT Music Solutions for sponsoring the musical therapy segment. GMAT Music Solutions will bring your event to life. They provide sound, light, and stage production services, musical equipment, musicians, singers, DJs, audio engineers, PA systems. Just give them a call, 754-307-4622. Quick way to remember, it's 754-307-GMAC. As I get out of here, I do want to encourage you to be good. But if you can't be good, I just have to say, hey, be good at it. My name is DJ Kevin Stu, so I like to do it to you, for you, and with you every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Time, right here on kevinstew.com. I'll roll out with the unofficial remix to Joanna Marie's Hush, Darling. It goes a little something like this, but hey, listen, y'all take care. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. I'll catch you all on Monday. From here in South Florida, I say good night.
I've been really trying, baby. Trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, baby, then come on. Oh, come on. Woo! Let's get it on. Hey, babe. I really want you close to me. Let's get it on. I like the way you feel. Let's love, baby. We're gonna lay it on. Bright and early, 'cause the heat is on. And I know that you're ready. Let us lay it on. Now that we are moving in the groove,
is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.